is getting more and more common not to use any databases, but to rely on ORMs and saving data from your code right away and let other technologies handle this stuff. But having the basic and the minimum knowledge working with database engines is a must. So that's what we will focus on this course. And for our from our previous experience with previous groups, most of students said like it was extremely important in their internship that they learned SQL Server and they learned how to manage relational databases. So to work with databases, we need usually two things. The engine, okay, the engine that will run the database, okay, that will execute the queries, okay, and sorry, and the manager. So the manager is the tool that will allow you to manage the server. Okay, so we have two pieces: the server itself, okay, the core piece, let's say, and the manager, which looks like Visual Studio or Photoshop, like just a program to manage the internal server. So let's start by installing, downloading and installing the manager server. So just search for SQL Server Express 2019. I guess this is the newest version. So let's see where we can find it. Okay. So SQL Server is the name of the like original product, but that's a product you need to pay for. If you just want the students one, the lightweight one, the free one, it's called the SQL Server Express. Okay, and that's what we need to find. Okay, so we can find the Express is the free edition of SQL Server, ideal for development or production uh, for desktop web and small server applications. And the good thing about this one that it's lightweight. Okay, so the original full featured one is like even heavy for us. Most of our like regular laptops will struggle to work with it. Okay, developer is full featured free edition license for use as development and test database. It looks like the previous page of production, but it said it's also free. Yeah, so it looks like this is the one you use before you publish. But anyways, this one is enough for us, and this is what we need for now. So download the Express one. Of course, all of this is Windows. I'm not sure if they have a Mac version. Okay, so if you don't, you really need to install Windows. Okay, so install this one. It's just like a program. Okay, I already have it. Okay, and after you install this one, in the very last window, you will before the finish, you will get a button called install the manager. Okay, so the manager is like the program that we will be able to use to manage the server. Okay, or you can go and download the manager right away from the internet. But there's a button at the end of this installation that will take you to the manager right away. So download the Express, please.
And Mohammed, should we just install the basic version, or I mean, there's a custom as well, and download media? There are three
Just
options.
yeah, just go with the basic things. Download media is if you want it offline. It's not something we want now. Okay, so Harris, you are working. Can you share your screen for us to see what's going on? So just to see it while it's being installed. Okay, so this is the installation of it. So Harris just chose basic. Maybe next. Sometimes my microphone is just disconnecting. So if you felt my voice is getting far or not clear, just let me know, please. Okay, so SQL Server is also available for Linux. So if you don't want to use Windows, you have Linux, but like the Windows one is like more matured, is more bug free, I guess.
Hi.
Hi.
So I have the menu here. In this menu, I have different options like new SQL Server in a standalone. That's the option that I need to choose.
So this is before installation or after? Did you
Before.
install anything?
So I download this one
Um,
before this screen.
okay, so one second because this one is done, and then we will share your screen. Okay, just 1 minute.
Okay.
It told me then I have to reboot my computer.
Well, if that's necessary, yeah. So are you done?
It said not hoops unable to install the SQL Server.
Yeah. This sometimes it happens for some reason. Restart usually solves the problem. Try to restart and try again.
Okay.
Mohammed,
Yep.
so I'm already finished the installation, but now it has it's showing me four options to choose, like connect now, customize, install SMMS and
Yeah.
stuff.
So what we want to do is choose this thing called install SSMS. SSMS is SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, that's what
Okay.
it is. So when you see this one, click on install SSMS and download the SSMS thing.
Okay.
Okay, and install it again. Okay, so you see this last thing. So here it's telling you that it's installed and what are like the addresses. We'll talk about those. But what we need to do now, so now we have the engine. We can use it right away now in Visual Studio, but it's extremely advised to install the manager. So install SSMS, okay, the third option. Okay. Can you share your whole screen, Harris, just to see your browser? So you shared only SQL Server window. If you can press on share again and choose to share the whole screen. That's in Zoom. Okay, in Zoom, click new share. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so download SQL Server Management Studio or SSMS. Okay, let's download it. Okay, so click on download. It's very obvious. What should you click?
When I'm clicking, it's taking me here to this web browser.
Yeah. So let's click on the download, not here in the page. The
Is it
page
this
itself. Yeah.
one here?
Yeah. Yeah, just like downloading any program.
Okay.
Okay, and so it's downloading. It's 500 megabytes. Once you are done, you can install it. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. So let's go to Willy now to see. Thank you very much, Harris. Okay. So that's how it should look like with everyone. Willy, can you share? Okay. So here we need to make sure everyone is fine with what you're installing. Okay, we can continue if any of you is not like fully ready. Willy, think he's doing something.
I should click install.
For which one?
For the latest, it came
Yep.
the.
So it's a
okay.
program 500 megabytes, right? Just install it.
Mhm.
Can you show us your Windows so we can go through?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So just install basic stuff, and now we are installing the Management Studio.
Mm.
Mohammed,
Yeah.
in my system, it shows that I require to restart my computer because I tried 2 times.
Okay. Let's make a restart.
Okay, I will be back in few minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Some computers they require restart. Maybe you have a program running preventing this thing to be installed. So today we will have another example on views in the lab. So please make sure to attend. I think Willie maybe is restarting his laptop. Okay. Okay. So hit close. Sorry. Okay. What is this down there? Yeah, you can close this one as well. Okay. So go to your type here to search and write SSMS. Okay, and start this thing. Okay. So here's the manager. Okay, so this program, okay, see this program, which from the outside looks like most of Microsoft programs. Okay, file, edit, view, and okay. So this program's job is to connect to a SQL server and manage it. Okay, that's why it's called SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, so it's telling you now what is the server do you want me to connect to so you can manage. because maybe you have more than one server. Maybe some of them are in different machines. So you want to connect over the network or over the internet. Okay. So the one that we want to connect to is the one that we just installed locally, which is SQL Server Express. Okay. So please just, I'm explaining those things just so you don't mix up stuff here. Okay. Although it's just like not extremely something important. So the ones that you need is either the name of your Saria, please stop pressing this. Okay. So the the one that you need, you can write either dot, then backslash SQL Express, or the name of your computer, which is in Saria's case desktop dash 0 MLPV. Okay, so you can keep it like this and hit connect, or Saria, can you delete this whole desktop 0 M, and yeah, just keep, okay, just dot, okay, backslash, okay, SQL Express. Yeah, one word. Okay, so this is the address of the local one that we made, or you can keep your computer name. Yeah, okay, hit connect now. Okay, so now we connected to our local version of SQL Express. Now you can create a new database, you can manage it. Okay, so if you reach this window, okay, then that's great, everything is working fine. We will continue from here, but first we want to make sure everyone is at this exact window, okay, where you can see databases, security, and all the rest. Okay, thank you very much, Sania. Okay, so who's still installing?
I think Sager's still restarting. I don't see him in the chat.
Yeah. Okay, so for the rest, like the goal is to reach that window, okay, that Saria reached.
I'm almost there. I'm just opening
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's fine. It depends on your network speed and on your laptop speed. So takes like a while. But if you reach that window, then you can stop right now. Okay.
So I'm the installation was completed. So I already installed SSMS.
Yeah.
So now I close this window.
Okay, now you need to open SSMS. Yeah, close all the installation windows
Okay.
and open your SSMS. Okay, you can go to Windows. So from here, okay, from your Windows, just write SSMS. Okay, and it should show up. Okay, so you can either keep your computer name or write dot backslash SQL Express
Okay.
and connect. Okay.
So I don't need to put any password setting password.
No,
No.
you can if you want, but like it's just a student simple thing. Of course, in a company there will always be credentials to connect.
I asked because with MySQL, yeah, you need to set in this.
Yeah, you can easily set them. Yeah, if you already did, then you need to write them down.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you are in this window now.
Yeah.
Okay, then perfect. Okay, so who is not in this window yet? Can I know?
Is under process.
Yeah, so you are installing SSMS.
No, the first one.
Yeah, still first one. Okay. Who else? Okay, so we are only waiting for Sagar. Can you share your screen, Sagar?
Sure.
Yeah.
And Mohammed, will we study about interfaces as well in any future courses?
Are we going to study about interfaces?
Yeah, about interfaces and
Yeah,
all
for
what is
sure. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interfaces are like one of the essential stuff when it comes to OB. So yes.
Okay.
We'll study about interfaces. We'll study about IO stuff. Okay, yeah, hit install SSMS. Okay. We'll study about design patterns. That's at the very end because those are extremely advanced stuff. So how to design our system. We will go through testing as well. Every day should be something new. Okay, but the thing is we have 5 months to study like lots of basic stuff, lots of like everything is important. So we are just trying to do like and get the most of it. Okay. Now the thing is we always thank you very much, Sagar. We always put you in the first step of the road. Like now we will study SQL Express, SQL Management Studio. We will study them in lots of details actually, but there are like maybe a year left of knowledge. Like you can study SQL Server for years and not finish. So there's no limit to where you can stop actually. You can just keep learning, keep advancing.
Yeah.
So now actually they are hiring a junior SQL Server, what they call it, administrator in MITT. Okay, and they are thinking of hiring one of our like current group who are in internships. Okay, because they want a junior one and they already have basic knowledge. They know databases. They know how to manage database in like the basic things. So they can start from there. Okay.
We can apply for this,
Um, I don't think
or it's
so.
for throwaway.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think so. Like you need they maybe need it now and you still have months to finish. But like there are always jobs like here or there or anywhere.
Okay.
But I mean the idea like if you had no knowledge from whatsoever, you wouldn't be able to apply. But now they know, it's much easier for them to do so. Okay, so Sagar, while you are installing, okay, just if you can just keep watching the screen, okay?
Okay,
What?
thank you.
Okay, so once you open your SSMS, just connect and it should take you here. Okay, so let's just start very slowly. Okay, so here are our databases. Those are previous things I made before, so you can ignore them. You won't have those. Maybe you'll have one called system databases. Okay, of course, don't delete those stuff. Databases snapshots. For now, it will be empty. Okay, so what we did before is we used to write our code first. Okay, now we will create our database first. So we will create our database, okay, our tables, and then we will learn how to generate the code of the classes using this database. Okay, so what we will do is something called the database first approach, where you design your database first, then using entity framework, you generate the classes from this database. Okay, so let's create a database. So for now, we will no longer create those lists everywhere to hold our data. Okay, so databases, right click, new database. Okay, so now we will have a real place to store our data. Okay, so database name, just call it anything. Let's call it first DB. Okay, or whatever you want. Okay, you have lots of options, lots of different configurations. This is mostly the job of a database administrator. So as a programmer, usually you only deal with the database. Okay, you save in the database, you bring from database, but databases themselves are an extremely complicated thing. They have configuration, they have how to make them faster, how to make them optimized. Okay, they have their own field. So usually there's a person or a team just to work with databases, to configure them, to put all the correct stuff in there. Okay, so that's the job of a DB admin. Okay, for now we will just create a simple database. Okay, so that's our database here, first DB. Okay, if you opened the database, you will see lots of stuff: diagrams, tables, views. You have also programmability, which we will study through later, and we will talk mostly about stored procedures. Okay, you have the security, the storage. So like honestly, most of those I don't know them because like I've never worked as a DB administrator before. I know what a programmer should know. Okay, so what we care about now is the tables section. Okay, so if you open the tables, for now we don't have any tables, but you have those what we call system tables. Okay, file tables. Okay, don't delete these folders, keep them. Okay, so a table is somehow, okay, let's say in 99 accuracy, is like a class. So for example, do you remember when you had a class student, okay, to hold the student name and ID, and okay, so here as well we will create a table called student to store the students in our system. We will also create a table called program. What's the relation between program and student?
Many to many.
One to many.
No, let's say that you can register in one program, not course, program.
One to one.
Yeah, so it's one to many, okay? The whole program. So when you go to MITT, you register for one program. You can't be in two, okay? Like at a point, you are always in one program, and the program has many students, so it's one to many. So actually relations, and Willie know that, relations were mainly designed to work with databases. Okay, so the terms one to many and many to many, those are database terms, not class terms. Okay, but we use them in classes because the idea is somehow the same. So here we will learn how to make those many to many, one to many, and how to represent them exactly as they were invented. Okay, so let's right click on tables, new table. So let's create a table. Right click on tables, new table. Okay, so now this is the designer of our table. It's telling you, okay, what do you have in your table? So I'm creating a table for students now. Okay, so as we said, in most of our tables, we always start with the ID. Okay, because you as a student, maybe you will share the same name with someone else. Okay, I can't distinguish you from your name. Okay, so the ID is what identifies you. Okay, it's the identifier. So I need it for most of my tables. Okay, ID. Okay, now it's telling you, okay, what is the type of this field? So for now, most of our IDs will make them integers. So you will see that just like C#, you have lots of types. Okay, you have like date, float. Of course, you have lots of other things that are here and not there. Okay, you have like some of them I didn't get to use all the time, like geography, for example, geometry. I never used this one. Okay, what we want is the most common ones. Okay, integer. So our ID will be an integer. Now, the third one is also important, allow nulls. That means, can you have a student with a null ID?
Mohammed, sorry, I don't have, like, mine doesn't look like yours. When I go through system database, uh,
we are not going through system database.
okay,
We created a new database. So here, database, right click, new database.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, right click on databases, not system database. Yeah, be careful not to mess with system databases. Okay, so right click here, new database. Then the database that will show up, right click on folder tables and new table.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and you should see the same thing. As Sagar, are you with us now? Is it working?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, okay. So everyone now should be at this point. Okay. Now a student as well. Yeah, for allow nulls, I don't want any student to have the ID null, obviously. Okay, like a student should always have an ID. Okay. What about name? Okay. So a name should be a string. Okay. Here we don't have a string. We have something called varchar. So varchar 50, you can make it varchar 60, varchar 100. whatever it's a number, uh, that means what is the maximum length of the name, which is like 50 characters. Okay, you really want to avoid someone inserting in your database like 1 million characters just to screw up with your database. Okay, and maybe just fill it with nonsense. So you need to set up like a maximum length for your name. Okay, so varchar means like a string. Okay, 50 is what is the maximum number of characters this name can be. I also don't want anyone to have like null names. I want everyone to have a name. Okay, I don't want to store any student without a name. Okay. Okay, now you can go from here. You can create, for example, birth date. So this one can be date time. Okay, let's say that the birth date is optional. Okay, so you can supply the birth date, or you can leave it like without a value for now. Okay, now when you are done designing your database, okay, it's good to save it. So should we make that? Okay, before we save it, okay, before we save it and we make a change. So every time you make a change, try to save it so you don't lose it. Okay, but before of that, in databases, to make relations, okay, we need to specify what is the primary key in our table. So what is the key that identifies? So the word ID itself is not enough for the database to know that this is an ID. So you need to say, okay, what is the primary key of this table? Primary key is like, what is the key that you want to use, especially in relations? So right click on the ID and choose set as primary key. And you should see the icon of a key near the ID. Okay. So this means what is the primary key for this table? What identifies this table? What is the key that I will use in relations? Okay. Now, see, since this one is a primary key, then you have the option to tell the database to auto fill it and auto increment it. So every time you insert a student, okay, every time you insert a student, the ID will be filled for you automatically and it will be incremented. So like I set the first student, okay, ID is 1. When I insert the second student, the ID will be 2. So I can have this option to auto increment the ID, okay, and to automatically set the ID without specifying it manually. So when you click on the ID, you will see this column properties. It's either here or here, it should show up. So there's something, if you went in the properties, there's something called identity specification. So open this one and choose, is identity yes? And do you want to auto increment it? Always keep it 1. So it will increment this ID 1 by 1 for each new student. Okay. Or you can increment it 2 by 2. That's fine. But usually the most common one is to increment 1 by 1. And the identity seed, what are the initial values, is to start from 1. Okay, so choose is identity. Okay, instead of no, make it yes. And keep those 1 by 1 so you can auto increment the ID. Okay, and it will be automatically filled for you.
Identity seed is where we begin, right?
Yeah.
Can we make it like, I don't know, 0001?
Well,
'Cause
that's
some
one.
IDs. Yeah, but like,
Yeah, well, it depends
to-
on the type. So if you want it to look like 0001 or something, you need to change the type. Now we
To
will learn
varchar?
later. Yeah, maybe, but that won't be auto incremented then.
Right.
That's something you. So we will learn later that new IDs are becoming strings, and it's like a very long set of random characters and numbers. It's called the GUID. Okay, so it's better to use GUIDs. They are extremely random. They are more modern than just integers, more than 1, 2, 3, 4. But we will start with the easy one, then we will reach the point where we deal with GUIDs.
I'm sorry, what
Okay.
did you call it? Zero ID?
You mean the GUID, the global?
GU, a global. Oh,
Yeah, GUID.
thank you.
Okay, that's like a long string, random set. That's what we will use in the future. Okay. Let me see.
And we don't have a string data type here in
No, it's called
SQL.
varchar, and there's nvarchar.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. So there is an options. So if you went to tools, options. So this option we need to disable so we can work freely. Designers, I guess. Yeah. So go to options, okay, from tables, from tools, options, then select designers. Okay, you will see this thing, prevent saving changes that require table recreation. Disable that. Okay. Otherwise, every time we make a change that require table recreation, it will be created for us. Now, this is of course not something you need to mess up when you are in a company. Okay, don't change this thing because it may recreate the whole table and you will lose all the data.
Ahmed,
Yeah.
sorry, where did you click to open the options window for that?
Yeah. So from tools, options, okay, and click on designers.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is important for us because we will make changes all the time. Otherwise, those changes won't go through because they require what they call table recreation, and they won't work. Okay, we can disable this one since we are just testing, because we will delete our tables all the time, create something new, and add a new relation. Okay, so we don't care about the data that we have. It's fine. Okay, but you need to be careful not to do this. Like, don't mess up with anything in a work environment until you are first requested to do so and you know what you're doing. Okay. Okay, so keep this one disabled. Okay, so now when we save, if there's table recreation, we won't get a problem. Okay, so let's save this table. It's the first save, so it requires a name. So let's call student. Okay. Now, to see it here, you will see that it's not showing up. Just right click and refresh the tables and it should show up. Okay, right click, refresh the tables so it can show up. Okay, let's create now another table. Let's create the program table. So we have students, we have programs. A student can be in one program, okay? And the program has so many students. So let's create a new table, new table. Okay, so program, let's say the program has an ID, which is an integer. It won't allow nulls, and it has a name. It's varchar 50. And I don't want nulls. Okay. So for now, that's what I need to do. We will add more things later, like capacity and stuff. Okay. So let's set the ID as the primary key. And let's make it auto incremented. Okay. From here. Without the primary key, you can't make relations. So it's very important. Okay. Now let's save it. Okay, so now we have the program and we have the table. We have the table of students. So we have the program and we have the student. We need to create the relation between those two tables. So for now, our system doesn't know that a student is related to a table, to a program, sorry. Okay. So let's go to student. Okay, you can right click and go to design. If it's like if you close it from here, just right click and go to design. Okay, that's the design. Okay, so now we said that there is one to many relation between student and program, right? So can you remember from what we learned in our code? If you have one to many relation, then in one side you have what, and in the next side you have what? So how many programs can
on
how
one
many
side
programs
there's a
can,
list and sorry.
Yeah.
Gotta stop. On one
yeah, so
side
one
there is
side you have a
of
list.
programs.
Okay,
Mm.
so a program has a list of what? Of students. Yeah. What about the other side?
That's
So
a property.
so how many programs can a student be in? One. Okay, so I need the ID of that one program that you are in. Okay, so it becomes part of your design. So here in the student, before I create the relation, I need to say, okay, what is the program ID that this student is in? Okay, so the program ID is an integer. And you can say, okay, can a student exist without a program? Like maybe yes, because maybe you just registered at MITT and you didn't decide what program you want. Or maybe let's say the policy at MITT is to choose what program you want right away. But maybe sometimes they will register you as a student, so you can set up your visa, and then they will assign you to a program. So eventually you will be in a program, but the question is, can you live without it for a while or not? That's the question. So that's how you decide if you want allow nulls or not. Okay. So in the first side, in the one side, you have the ID of the other table. You have the ID of the program. What about the first? Let's save it. Okay, so it's saved. Okay, nice. What about the other side? This one, we said it has a list of students, right? The program. Okay, so here we don't have to do anything. Okay, here we don't have to say, okay, what is the, like save the list or something. The list will be like something like implicit inside. Okay, it won't be something as a field. Okay, so let's go back here. Just a second, I need to remember something. Relations. Okay, so we need to go there actually. Okay, so in the program, okay, so we need now to tell the system that there is one to any relation. So for now, we just have the program ID in the student. Okay, but our system still doesn't know that this program ID, okay, is actually equal to the ID in the table what program. So it's just called program ID. That's just a name we chose. But the system still doesn't know that this program ID is actually not any ID. Okay, it's not any number. It's a number of what? Of a program. So it should match to what? It should match to an ID of one of our programs. Okay, so imagine this one program ID is 5. Okay. And I don't even have a program with the ID number 5. Okay. What does that mean? That doesn't make sense. Okay. Well, like all what I have are 3 programs, and someone in his table is in program number 5. So this doesn't make any sense, right? Okay. So this number in the student, the program ID of a student, should match to what? To one of the IDs I have for our program. Okay. Otherwise, what program you are talking about? Okay. So we need to make that relation. We need to tell our system, okay, that those 2 fields, this one, the program ID, and this one, the ID of a program in the program table, those are matching. Okay. Those are the same thing. That is the relation we want to create. So go to table program, right click. So do you remember when we said the primary key? Okay, down here you have something called relationships. So right click on relationship and add a new relationship. Okay, when you add a relationship, you have so many options. We will talk about them later, especially the last one. But the main one is what we call tables and column specification. So right click on this one. So here you are saying, okay, there is a relation, okay, between the table program and the table student. Just a second. Primary key table. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Let's remove this one. Okay. Just delete it. Okay. So I clicked on here. Oh, yeah, that's, yeah, not sure why it didn't work the first time, so I went here. Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mohammed,
Sorry for that. I will start over. Yep.
if you accidentally close it, how do you bring it back up? Like if I open it, I can see the columns and keys, but how do I bring up the same table?
Here, right click design. You mean how to bring back this thing?
Yeah, I was right clicking on table and was making a new one. Thank you.
No, right click design because you are designing the table. Okay. So sorry for that. Yeah, I just like because it was disabled. I'm not sure why I didn't see it the first time. Okay. So let's make the relation from the one part. Okay, from the student part. Okay. Let's go back to student. Okay, right click, relationships. Okay, let's create a new relation in the student. And here we have something called primary key and foreign key. So we know what a primary key already. Primary key is the primary key of a table. You know, what's the primary key of student table? Is the ID of the student. What is the primary key of the program table? Is the ID of the program. Okay, that's what we know. Now, the foreign key is like the important concept here. Foreign key is a key in a table, okay, that is actually the primary key in another one. So look at program ID. This is a key. This is an ID. But is it an ID for table student? It's an ID for who? Or for what? For program. So it's like a foreign key that lives inside the program table. The student table. Okay. So the ID of student is this one. Okay, the ID. Okay. Now there is another one, but it's a foreign key that lives inside the student table. So here it's telling you, okay, what is the foreign key in the student table. So the foreign key is the program ID. Okay, so and this one should equal to what? Should equal to the table program, the ID of table program. Okay, so that's how we manage to say that, okay, in program there is ID. Okay, this is a primary key in program, right? Okay, it should match to what? To a foreign key. It should match to a foreign key that lives inside the student table, which what we called program ID. Okay, so now we are saying program ID in the student equals to the ID in the program, right? That's how I said they are matching. Okay, we will do this over and over. We'll do it again right now. Okay, so let's say, okay, leave the rest as they are now and close. And let's save everything. Okay, so all what we did here is we said that the foreign key in the student, okay, should equal to the primary key in the program. That's all what we did. Okay, now it's extremely important to not mess this thing up or the whole system won't work. You need to be extremely careful when you are setting up your tables and relations. Let's create a new table called course. Okay, so for now, let's just create the one-to-many between course and program. Let's say for now that a course is in one program and the program has a list of courses. Okay, let's create a new table. Let's call this one course. So the course has an ID, which is integer. The course has a name, which is varchar 50. Okay. Now we said there is one-to-many relation between course and program. So what do you have in the course?
Program
You
ID.
have the program ID. Okay, to which program this course is in. Okay, but is this a primary key or a foreign key?
Foreign.
It's a foreign key. Okay, it's like I am a course. Okay, this is not my ID. This is like a foreign key living inside my table. Okay, my ID, my key is this one. That's why we call it foreign key. Okay, it's for someone else. Okay, so this one is integer. Let's say that a course can't live without a program. You can't create a course without a program from the beginning. Okay, now let's make this one as primary key. Let's make it auto-incremented. Okay, after you do that, save it as course. Okay, now it's time to say that this ID of program is not just a number. It should match to what? It should match to an ID in the program table, right? So we need a relation between course and what? Between course and program. Okay. So right click on relationships. Okay, let's create a new relation. Let's go to the tables. Okay. So where is the primary key? In which table?
Program.
In table program. And what is the field? It's the ID. Okay, that's the primary key. Okay, so it's matching to what in the course?
Program ID.
So the program ID in the table program should match to what? To the program ID in the course. That's how we said, okay, this foreign key equals or should equal something or some value in the table program. Is it clear? Okay, so one table has a foreign key, one table has a primary key. Okay, so that's how exactly it's done. Okay, and close. And now, for example, imagine you are inserting data and you created a new course. Okay, that's nice. So if you are trying to set up the program ID to 5 and there is no program with the ID number 5, this won't work. Your database won't allow you. Your database will complain, hey, you are saying that this course, okay, the name OOB is in the program ID number 5, but I don't have a program with the ID number 5. What are you doing? And without the relation, your database would allow you to insert any integer. Okay, you can insert any integer if there were no relation. But now, after the relation, your database knows that, oh, those things are matching. So I need to make sure that number 5 program is actually a program in the programs tables. Okay, let's try to. Of course, there's too many relationship between course and student, but we will leave it for now. Okay, let's insert some data. So you can insert some data from your website, of course. Okay, you can. That's what we'll do all the time. But if you want some test data, if you want to insert something like really quick, you can do it from here. So let's refresh. So first, let's insert a program. So right click. You can choose edit top 200 rows. So here you can insert some data. Of course, you can't insert the ID because the ID we said is auto inserted and auto incremented. So for example, first program is IT program. So once you click outside, it will be saved and you will notice the ID was generated for you. It started from 1. The next program, let's say it's art. Just click outside and now the ID is number 2 and you have those 2 programs. Okay, so from program, right click, edit top 200 and you will see them here. Okay, you don't need to insert the ID. Now you will notice if you deleted one of them, if you clicked here and delete, your ID will continue from 3. Okay, that's totally normal. Okay, it will just keep getting incremented. It won't go back. Okay, so now I have 2 programs. Program ID number 1 called IT. Program ID number 2 called art. Okay, and they are saved. Okay, if you don't see any red mark in here, that means they are saved. Okay. Okay, you can close this one. Now let's insert a student. Right click. Or before we insert the student, let's insert the course. Right click on the course, edit top 200 rows. So what do you need for the course? You need the name of the course. Let's say OOB. Okay, that's a course. But now it's like this red dot means it's not saved yet. Means there's something missing. Okay, when you see this red sign, exclamation mark, that means this information is not saved to the database yet. It's still just in front of you. It's not submitted. Okay, it's waiting for you for a program ID because we said the program ID is mandatory for the course. Okay, so now let's try to enter 6. So now it's complaining, hey, you don't have a program with the ID number 6. What are you doing? So, of course, it's telling you that this is a violation for the foreign key constraint. I don't have a program with this ID. Okay. So it's waiting now for a real ID that you have. How many IDs, program IDs we have?
2.
We have 1 and 2. Okay. Only 2. So you need to choose one of them. Okay. And this wasn't this was not possible without the relation that we created. Okay. The name of that field, you can name it whatever you want. Like your database won't know anything from the name of the field. Okay. The relation is what is important. So this one is in the program number 1. And now when you click outside, you will notice that, oh, now I have a course called OOB. It's in program ID number 1, and it's saved in my database now.
I'm getting an error, Mohammed. It said
What's
the
the error?
data in row 1 was not committed.
So did you choose a program? Okay,
Yeah.
let's see what do you have.
Okay, just one sec.
Can you share your screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Are you able to share or? Okay.
You see?
Okay, so click somewhere outside, like on the null words. Yeah, down there. Yeah, down there. Okay, so that means you don't have. Did you make the ID auto? Oh, your ID is not auto incremented for the course, so you need to provide the ID yourself, I guess. This. Okay, can you delete everything? Delete everything. Yeah, or write the ID number 1. Write the ID number 1. Okay. Yeah, so you chose to manually enter the ID. So if you want this to change, you need to go to the design. Yeah. How did you make the relationship? This one is not. This one is not a primary key. So first the ID should primary key, then it should be auto incremented, and now you can make the relation. Yeah. Yeah, maybe because this one, yeah, it's a foreign key, so that's why it's worked. Yeah. But if you are using course in any other relation where course is the primary ID, it won't work. Okay. So let's see now if it will work.
You didn't save.
Yeah, you need to save. First, you need to save the table course. Yeah, you need to save this one. Let's see.
But it's working now.
Yeah. No you can close this one. Yeah, you can close this table, this window. Yeah, it's waiting. It's waiting for you to insert something. There's a space. There's a space. So just yeah, delete everything. Delete everything. Yeah. You don't have to write delete. Just click outside. Yeah, this.
How do I just delete the whole column? It won't let me.
It won't. It's waiting for data. It's pretty irritating how it works. Try to insert anything. Yeah, now it's complaining about the ID. So try to insert the ID. Yeah, any name. Click outside on another row. Yeah, previous row. Can you? Yeah, so now it's not accept. So delete the ID now. Delete the ID that you have. Okay, now it should be auto inserted. Wait, can we read? The change, this was not as valid. Can you?
Row 3, column 1. It's saying the ID. It's not valid.
Yeah, because you changed. You should have closed this window before
Maybe
you.
Kevin, you can close this table and open again.
Won't let me close it now.
No, it won't allow you to close it.
It's okay. I'll figure it out.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Can you open another one? Like right click on course. Yeah, edit 200. Oh, it will take you to the same.
Yeah, it takes me to the same one. I'll figure it out. It's okay. Thanks.
Okay, but usually when you click outside.
Yeah, it should be populating the ID for me now, but it's not.
I saw something about clear field when you were clicking at the very left side. Maybe you can try that. Yeah, clear results, maybe.
Oh.
Would that work?
It just cleared the whole thing.
Yeah, can you close this window?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you open it
Cool.
again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it won't delete them. It will just clear the table.
Clear it. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So let's continue now. Okay, so if you made a change to the table, okay, don't continue with the same insertion one. Close it and try with a new one. Okay, because now there's a conflict between both of them.
Mohammed?
Yep.
I have a question.
Yep.
In course table, the ID is 2. Why that?
In course table, okay. Yeah, because the first one was considered deleted. So every time you make a mistake, it will delete.
Okay.
Okay. And you can't control that. It will just go up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, welcome. So every time you make a mistake, it will delete what you have and it will just go up. Okay, so we have a course. Let's insert the student. So student Mike, okay. Birth date, let's leave it null. So the program ID also should be 1 or 2. Say Chris is number 2. Okay, and you can just keep adding students. Okay. So every time you add a student, it will just go through. And this one you can leave it as null, that's fine. Okay, so the most important thing is make sure you have your ID, because if you are making a relation where this table is the primary key, it won't work without specifying what is the primary key. If you don't want to insert the ID yourself, you can auto increment it. Okay, let's make it auto incremented for the course. Okay, and when you create a relation, you need to choose, okay, where is the original key, the primary one, and where is the corresponding foreign key. And that's how you make one-to-many relations, and that's how you tell your database that this is not just a number that accepts anything. You are telling your database that this is a number for a real program. So if you don't have this program, don't insert. Okay, so we'll take a break now. After the break, we will create an MVC application and we will connect our website to this database. Okay, that's after 15 minutes. Okay, see you very soon. Okay. So what we did now, we just took an extremely quick introduction to creating tables, working with foreign keys, and just making a quick relation with with one-to-many. Okay. The next step, of course, will be more SQL Server stuff and many-to-many relationships. But before of that, let's see our database in action. Okay. How about we create a website? Okay, and use this database that we just created. So let's create a website. Okay, so create a new project. We need a web. Make sure you are using C# here. We don't want the core. Okay, we want ASP.NET Web Application.NET Framework. Next, let's give it, let's call it first site with DB. Okay, yeah, just any name.
Sorry, did you choose the MVC normal?
Yeah, we want the MVC, no authentication. Okay, you can use HTTPS with it. Okay, but make sure C# and .NET Framework. Don't use Visual Basic. Okay. Okay, so first thing we need to do is to connect to our database. Okay, so right click in here, add, and choose new item. So from the data, okay, you should have a section called data. Now, if you don't have it, then you will have something missing in the installation of Visual Studio. You need to open Visual Studio installer and add the data thing. And choose Ado.NET Entity Data Model.
I'm sorry, Mohammed.
Yeah.
Can you please show that procedure again? Like how to find this add new item?
Right click on the project name, add new item. Okay. And you have all the items here, but you can choose the data one just to narrow the scope. So let's call it MITT. So the database, okay, the database represents what? Or let's call it school. Yeah. Okay, it should work for a school. Okay, so you know we have students, courses, programs. So what's this like? This represents a school, or it's better to be the same name of the database that you called it. We called it first DB. Okay, or you can call it first DB. Okay, so you know like this is for this. Okay, add. Now, what we are using here is called Entity Framework. Okay, so Entity Framework is a tool okay, that is called ORM, Object Relational Mapping. So it will connect our code to our database, and it will generate the classes for us using the database. And this is the what we call the database first approach. So in database first approach, you create the database, you create the tables, the relations, everything. Okay. Then you tell Entity Framework, like here, you tell Entity Framework that, oh, I have the database. Can you please connect to it and generate the classes for me? Generate the objects for me? That's why it's object relational mapping. Or you can go code first. So code first is the opposite. You write the classes. Okay, you can write the classes. That's what we will see later. We write our classes and we tell our entity framework to generate the database for us. Okay, so you either go database first or code first. Okay, both are common, both are widely used. Okay, so choose the first one, EF Designer from database. Next. So here we need to connect to our database. Okay, don't mind this one. This is my old connection. So click on new connection. Okay, click on new connection. So I'm connecting to the database now. I'm telling because Entity Framework doesn't know where is the database. Is it in a server here? Is it in a server in another machine? Okay, where's the database? So now I am telling Entity Framework where is the database that I just created. Now, of course, it happens to be in the same machine, but in real life, you don't create databases on your laptop. Databases are a heavy thing. They are like, they are full of data, millions of records. You can't run it on a simple laptop. Usually, there is a strong server sitting somewhere, and all the developers will be connecting to that machine where the database actually is. Okay, it's not on your machine. Now imagine it's on your machine. Okay, what if you didn't show up to work? Everyone can't access the database now. Okay, and of course there's always one database for everyone. Okay, otherwise everyone will have his own version, everyone has his own data. Okay, which doesn't make any sense. So here I need to tell Entity Framework where is the database. So first thing you need to do is to write the server name. Server name, as we learned, is ./SQL Express. Try to not press this arrow, otherwise it will hang up for 10 seconds. Okay, so once you write the correct name of the server, right-click on Select Database Names. So once you have the correct name here, if you click this one, you will see all the databases you have in your server. Of course, you should only see one for now, along with the system ones, but you will be able to find the one that we created right now, which is called FirstDB. And that's how I told Entity Framework, that's how I told the tool responsible for generating classes, where is the database? Otherwise, how would it know? Okay, so please pay attention to, like, I don't want you to be clickers, okay? Because tomorrow you won't be working with Visual Studio. You will be working with something else, okay? You need to understand what you're doing. So, for example, the first thing they tell you, okay, we will be working, okay, please install PHP, please install Visual Studio, whatever. So the first thing you ask, okay, how do I connect to the database? What is the address of the database server, okay? Don't expect that you will be installing the database on your machine. It should be somewhere else. Unless, of course, you want just to play around with the code. So maybe you want to create your own simple database that you have on your machine, okay, just to play around with stuff, try to mess up with things, but the real work should be on a real database, okay? So ask where is this one? And then when you want to connect, you know that, oh, I need the server name, I need the database name. Probably there's a username and password for the database. Okay, so you don't end up with everyone connecting. So once you have, you can test the connection. and it will tell you, oh, the connection is working. If there's a problem, it will tell you that the connection wasn't successful. Okay, so once you press OK, you will see that it's connecting now to FirstDB, and there's something called FirstDB entities. So FirstDB entities are the classes that are going to be generated for us. The entities. The entity of a student, the entity of program, the entity of course. Okay? Then you can press next. And of course, we are using the latest version, so keep it number 6. Now, if you are using an old project, maybe you want to go to number 5, but we are making a brand new project anyway, so you can also next. So now it's telling you, do you want to use all the tables? Because your database could be like 400 tables. You don't want all of them right now. So it's saying you, okay, do you want all the tables? We'll choose yes. Okay, we want all the tables. Otherwise, you can choose what tables you want for this work. Okay, you can create another project for the rest of the tables. It's bad to have hundreds of tables in a Visual Studio project in the same place. It will make everything extremely slow. Okay, finish. So now it will create what we call the EDMX, or the designer for our tables. Let's see what's going to be generated now. Takes time, of course. Yeah. Honestly, I never changed this one. Like just keep everything as default and just next. I really don't remember the option because there are so many options we usually ignore unless you want a custom thing. But let's see what is the shape. The shape should look something like this. Okay, so keep everything as it's in the default. Okay,
But,
so
sorry, do you mean in the option for which database object do you want to include the model? Only the tables.
Yeah, so only the tables, all the tables. Don't use view, like you don't have views yet. So just click the tables, choose all the tables. And okay. Okay, leave everything as is.
I have a question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh yeah,
No,
that's my question.
Yeah, just ignore it. Yeah, it's because it's
Okay.
an external tool working inside Visual Studio. Just tell it not to ask you again. Okay. Because some people create libraries, exes that can work. So it's just warning you that if you don't trust the source, don't run this script. But that's fine. Okay, so look at here, like this design is extremely useful. Why? First, it's showing you all the tables. Okay, so you can see that I have a table program. And first, in the properties, you will see what you entered in the database. So in the program, what do you have? You have ID and you have name, right? In the course, you have ID, name, and program ID. Okay, it takes a while. So if you are still waiting, it's fine. In the student, we have ID, name, birthday, and program. But look at down here, you have something called navigation properties. Do you remember when we said when you have one-to-many relation, you can live with the ID, but you can also create the complete object of program inside the course. What do you have inside program? Look at here. Courses and students. What are those? Those are lists. So in the program, you have a list of courses and a list of students. But see how they are in a different section because they are not part of the database. They are just navigation, so you can navigate easily. Okay, so they are just to make your life easier while working with queries. Okay, but in the database you won't have this list stored. Okay, so also look at the numbers. You have star and 1. What does that mean? That means many to 1. So what does that mean? This means one program, okay, has many courses. That's how you read. Okay, what about here? We have 0 and 1. And then here we have the many. What does that mean? That means one or no program can have many students. Why we have the option for 0 here? Do you remember when I created my student?
November. Yeah.
Where's our student? Okay, student design. Do you remember when I created student, I said the program can be null? That's why it could be 0 or 1. And from here, you know if it's nullable or not. Okay? And here, from here, you can learn lots of stuff. Okay, then you will ask now, okay, where are the classes? You said it's going to generate classes for us. Okay, where are they? All of them are inside this EDMX thing. So they are heading from you. Inside EDMX, yeah, before we talk about the DB context. Okay. Okay, yeah, sorry, they are just right here. Why I'm opening. This thing is stuck.
Can I regenerate again the...
Yeah, that's what we'll do now. So if you change something in the database, you need to regenerate this thing again. Okay, so look at here. I have a class called student.cs. Open student.cs. Okay, what do you have? Public partial, forget the word partial now. Class student, okay? Int ID. What is this? This is a class of student, but it's generated using the database. So now your database is matching your classes, okay? String name, birth date. Do you remember when we said the birth date can be null? Okay, so it's from type nullable birth date. So it can be null, okay? Program ID is also nullable. So it's not only integer, it's a nullable integer that could be null. Because integers by default, they don't accept null as a value. So our classes were generated using the database. And what is this at the end? This is the, like, here you have the ID of a program, right? You remember when we said, okay, this is enough, but you can also create a whole object of program, so you can access the name of the program, any other properties right away without the need to go to class program. This is a navigation property, just to navigate to program. Okay, and it's virtual for reasons we will talk about later. Okay, let's go to program itself. Here you will see lots of things actually. So the class program, it has an ID, okay, it has a name. Okay, it has what, like that's all what we have in the database, right? Now it has courses, which is a collection, okay? And it has students, which is also a collection. Those are navigation properties. Those are just for our code. They are not stored in the database, but they are from type what? So it's a collection. So the creators of this tool, they decided that they don't want to use list. It's faster to use a hash set. You know, because you always have one student. You always have one course. So a hash set is better and faster to work than a list. Okay, but making it a list, that will also work. You need to be careful not to change anything in those generated classes. Okay, like there's a warning before each one of them that this is auto-generated. Don't come like, for example, suppose you want to add first name and last name to student instead of name. Okay, so what should you do? Don't come to the student class and change here. What you are supposed to do is come to the database, change here, and then update your code, which what we will see now. Okay, so any change, don't change the classes, change the database, and come update the the EDMX. How to update is very easy. Just right click in here and update model from database. It will take all the new updates. Okay, so if you changed a table, if you changed a relation, it will be updated right away. So right click in a empty place inside the EDMX, update model, and it will tell you, okay, what updates you want to need. Okay, update the tables. Of course, now it's sensing that there are 0 changes. That's why you can't really do anything because we didn't change anything. Okay, what if we went? Sorry, yeah.
I actually made a because I had to change because on my course my program ID was nullable, so it's a 0 to 1 too many. How do I update the changes now though? Because I'm getting an error.
First, did you save your database?
Yeah.
Okay, and you are trying to update the changes. What kind of error?
Here, I'll just share my screen again.
Yeah. So if it's not working, some changes won't be as easy to do. You can just delete the tables in the EDMX and update again.
Oh, and just like re-add them?
Yeah. So here, for example, if we did it, I'm not sure why this particular one is not working, but you can, for example, remove everything and then update model from database, bring them again. So now all the changes, the up-to-date one will come. Okay, in case if it's not accepting this change. Some changes are not acceptable unless you delete the table.
There are like 3 choices. One is to add, the other is to refresh, and the other is to delete when I choose the update. So it's refresh, right?
It really depends on what you're doing.
So, okay, when I'm not adding, changing the data would be refresh.
Yeah. So let's suppose in the program, okay, do you remember the program? We have ID and name. What if in the program I have capacity? You know, in our software program, we have a capacity of 30, for example. So let's add the capacity. Okay, which is an integer and it can be null. Now you need to be careful. If you already have programs stored, for now we have 2 programs, IT and art, right? You can't make a new field and say, oh, this is not null. Why? Because you already have data. Like you already have 2 programs without a capacity. So how are you saying that this capacity is mandatory if you already have 2 programs without capacity? Okay, so here, let's try to save it. Here is refusing that you add a mandatory capacity. See, capacity is not null, right? It's mandatory. So it's telling you, hey, you already have 2 programs in your data, right? Art and IT, and they don't have a capacity. So how come this thing is mandatory? Okay, that's the meaning of this. So you either need to go and wipe all your data, and that will make it work, or you need to make this thing nullable. Okay, so one of those 2 choices. Of course, there are other ways to do it, but those would be more advanced. It's to like write a script that will fill it for you and then make it mandatory. Okay. So I added a capacity. I saved my table. Okay, let's go back to my Visual Studio. So if I right click on here, update from database, tables, okay, finish. So you will notice that the capacity just showed up in the updated model. Okay, if you are messing up with the relations, sometimes it won't like the change. So just delete it from here and regenerate it. Okay, the most important thing is you always change the database, not the classes. Okay, don't come here and do anything. Okay, anything you write here will be lost. Okay, that's why it's called database first. Now, if you don't like that, you can go code first. So write your own classes and let Entity Framework generate the database for you. But in that case, any change you need to do will be in the classes. You can't touch the database. Okay, you need to choose one of those two ways. Okay. So now I have a website. It's connected to a database. Okay, that's nice. But what about people? Like, can people see the students now in this website? Can my visitors add a student, delete a student? Okay. So I need to create what? Controllers, views. Okay. Now models, I don't care about models because I already have a model. I have the classes. Okay. I already have them. I want now to create what? To create the controllers and the views. Okay, the model part is taken care of. Okay, so right click. I guess you can take this thing to the models folder, but it's a struggle to do anything with it. It makes the whole laptop just scream.
Mohammed?
Yeah.
For capacity, should we update that in program?
Yeah, so what you do, add it to a program here in the database. Did you add it here?
Yeah.
Okay, then come here, right click and update model from database.
Yeah,
it should come. So can you see it here?
Yeah.
Okay, so then everything is up to date now.
But we don't have to actually put like capacity in program.cs.
No, this thing you don't touch it. If you went to program.cs, you will see it now. It's auto-generated for you. Okay, this thing you never touch this thing. It's auto-generated and it will be always up to date. Once you update this thing, EDMX, the code itself will be updated as well. Okay, so now you will see that, oh, it's here. Okay, just update your model and the code will be taken care of. Okay, so I have models, I have classes, everything. Okay.
I don't have it in program. Like it didn't update in there.
Well, if it's here, then did you save it? Okay, save it first. That EDMX, okay, save it. And then open the program again.
Okay. I'll figure it out. Thank you.
No, we need to make sure it's working. Yeah. It takes time. When you save this thing, it will regenerate stuff. So it takes a few seconds. Then when you open program again, you should see all the changes.
Oh, that worked. Perfect.
That worked, yeah. So you need to save it to make sure you are synced. Sorry, sometimes I just do it quickly without mentioning, but anything you do, you need to save it, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's go to controllers. Okay, you know, we have the home controller. What about we create a student controller? Okay. So right click, add, and choose controller in the controllers. So do you remember before we used the empty one, but now we can use the third option, which is controller with views using Entity Framework. Okay, so this one will take advantage of our generated classes and will create like like preliminary controller for us. It has the minimum functionalities, which what we will see now. So it's saying you, okay, what is the class you want to create for the controller? So this is a student controller. So of course, I will use the student. Okay. Data context, we only have one data context, first DB entities. Okay, and leave the other as are. And of course, it's called students controller. Okay, keep it called students controller because the class is called student. Okay, so just choose what class you want to create a controller for. Add. Yeah, we need to rebuild this thing. Okay, so from build, choose rebuild. Otherwise, it won't generate the controllers for us. Okay, so if it's rebuilt, okay, rebuild successful, you see the message here. Okay, now let's do it again. Controllers, add, controller, third option, add. I want the student. It's called students controller and the only entities I have. Okay, we will talk about what is entities and what is inside that class. Okay, now it's called, it's doing something called scaffolding. Okay, it's building the controller and the views for you. So what are the main things you do with any entity? Add a new student, right? Update a student, delete a student, okay? And get the information, get the details. That's what we call the CRUD functions. So CRUD stands for, it's called CRUD. So stands for create, okay, retrieve, update, and delete. Okay, those are the main things that you do, like in any system. For example, suppose you are the employee that works at MITT registration. So what do you do? Or what do? You add courses, delete courses, update a course, add a program, delete program. So this is like 80% of everything you do, right? It's called the CRUD operations: create, retrieve, update, and delete. Okay, so the generator that generated our controller will create all the pages of the CRUD operations for students. Okay, let's create another controller and then we will see them later. Let's create another controller for program since students need program. Okay, add another controller with entity framework. Let's now choose program and add. Also, as well, it will create the pages necessary for the main CRUD operations. Okay, notice that. Do you remember when we said when we have a controller, we have in the views, we have a folder, the same name of the controller, and it has all the pages? Like, look how many pages were created for us. In the program, you can create a program, delete, details, edit, and index. Let's try to see them actually. Let's start our program, our website. Okay, advanced. Okay, accept the risk. So what happens now is that our program, our website is connected to the database. So let's go to the controller that's called programs. Okay, do you remember we created programs controller? So this is the index page. This is the retrieve page. Or sorry, no, this is just index. The retrieve will be the details. Okay, so you will notice that Oh, it connected to the database. It brought the information from our database. Okay, and it's the index page is supposed to show us what the like all the programs we have. Okay, now inside each one of them you have the CRUD operations. Like you can edit it, which is the update. You can see the details or you can delete it. What about create a new one? You will notice that it's here. Let's create a new program. So what is the name? Let's call this one is science. The capacity is 50 students. Of course, all of this is written in HTML somewhere, and that's what we will go and find out now, right? Like this place is something in HTML that's somewhere, okay? And we have access to that code. Once you click create, you will notice that you have science and the capacity is 50. You can see the details of it in a new page. Back. You can see, you can delete it. What about the database? Let's go to the database. Do you remember our programs? So you can, if you want to view all the programs you have, right click on programs and select top 1000.
I add capacity and then I generate again the code.
So when you add capacity, you need to update your model. You need to
yeah, I did it, but when I create the controller,
did you build everything? Did you save and build everything?
Yeah.
Did you create the controller before or after the capacity?
No, before.
Oh, yeah. If you made the controller before the capacity, it will not be auto-updated. Controllers and views are not auto-updated. So
Okay.
if you want capacity inside the controller, you need to come here, delete the controller, delete the folder of the programs, and create the controller again.
Okay.
Okay. So the code of the program.cs, this one is auto-updated. Yeah. But the controller and the views, those are not auto-updated. So if you added a new field, it will not just magically come to the view or magically come to the control. You need to delete them, regenerate them again. But be careful that if you have any code, you are deleting your code. So be careful not to delete the code that you just wrote just because there's one field. You can add capacity very easily to the HTML. We will learn that. Okay, so the CS code is auto-generated. The controllers and views, those are not auto-updated. Okay. So let's go here. So we said select 1000. Okay. So here you will see what do you have inside your database. So do you remember that I added science program in my code and now it's where it's saved in my database. Okay, so it was saved from there to here. Now I can see it in my database. Here you can either select, so you can view things, you can change them. So here select is only if you want to see stuff. If you want to change it, you can go with the edit. Now you can change values. Okay, so that's the difference. Most of the time you just want the select, you just want to see stuff. Okay, let's close everything here. Okay, so in any table you have either to select to see the results or edit to edit them. Okay. We will have like a full week just writing those things. We will learn more about them. But for now, we just want to see the results. Okay, so if you are able to add a new program and you can see it in the database, then everything is working extremely fine. Otherwise, there's a problem somewhere.
I got an error when I was trying to view it in Chrome. Could you help me out? View what I okay.
Is this the HTTPS thing? Okay, so you started your. Okay, let's start over. Okay, can you run your program?
Run program from here?
Well, yeah, run your website.
Yeah.
Okay, go to programs controller. Programs. Programs.
And just that's it, right?
Yep. This should take you to the index page. Okay, exception of time. Yeah, what's this? This application.
Same thing happened with me.
Okay, we need to review things then step by step. Okay, stop it now.
Okay,
let's go to your ADMX.
Okay.
No, it's open there, yeah. Okay. So you have ID, name, capacity. Why you have program 1 and program 2 inside? What is this?
I don't know. This is the programs that I created, the art and thing.
Yeah,
and
well, that means you have problems with your relations.
I do.
Okay, so let's go back. Yeah, the problem is here. Yeah. So here, go to the design. Okay, you are in the design. Let's go to relations. Right-click relations. You can go to from the design. So inside the design, right-click on ID. Yeah, or any place. Yeah, relations. Okay. Why you have 3 relations? What is this?
I don't know.
Yeah, so this thing program is a wrong relation. You should delete. Like, is there a relation between program and program?
I think
the answer is no. Don't think about there's no relation between program and program.
No, I think I added something by mistake when I was
that's the thing. If when you add something by mistake, it stays. You need to delete it manually. Okay, so let's close this. Why do you have?
What about this?
I don't know.
What did I
this
do?
is also something. Yeah, delete this thing. Okay. Okay. Close. Save. Yes. Okay. Now let's go back to ADMX. See if everything is working fine. Now the thing is, you always need to check what was generated in the ADMX to make sure like it's going well. Yeah. Add. Yeah. Finish. Can you delete all the tables?
All the tables?
Yeah.
From here or?
Yeah, let's go here. Let's try this refresh thing. Yeah, sometimes they just refresh tables. Yeah, all of them.
It doesn't have any check mark.
Yeah, just finish. Yeah, just refresh.
Okay.
Finish. It's still there. Okay, let's delete all those 3 tables. Just delete them with delete key.
Everyone?
Yeah, they won't be deleted from the database. Don't worry, they will be deleted from.
From here.
Okay, just select them, delete. Hit the delete button.
There's
delete button.
Doesn't have any.
On your keyboard, delete button.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's always like this. It takes time and it's always crazy. Yeah, the thing is, keeps connecting to the database, which is a heavy operation. Yeah, you can delete them one by one or all of them, whatever.
I pressed the delete button. It's not deleting. Wait.
Okay, delete from model. Okay. Yes. So the first thing you need to do when you generate the model is to make sure everything is fine. Now let's update. Right click, update. Okay, choose all the tables. Okay, finish. Okay, let's stop. Yeah,
now it's
now
not connected.
now we need to go make the relation between program and course. As you can see, there's no relation. So we need to go make it.
Right.
Okay, how do we make it? Let's go to course. Okay, right click. Okay, relation. Okay, add. Okay, and go change the tables. Okay, where's the primary key? In the program. Okay, it's the ID of the program. Okay, who is the foreign key? Oh, look at you. Like, you not even thinking. Just like,
sorry.
No, I mean, like, it's been like only 30 minutes then since we learned this thing. Okay. Now it's very, very easy to mess things up. Okay, close now. I think you clicked the add button again. That's why you have all this problem.
Oh.
Yeah, you need to close. Once you click add, that's a new relation. Okay, now let's go back to our tables.
Tables as in here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you just write to update?
Refresh.
Try to update. Okay. Okay, updates. Finish. Oh.
Yeah.
So in program, we have student courses. Nice. Inside course, we only have program inside students. So everything looks fine now. Okay. Let's save. Save everything. Okay. And it's better to build again, actually. Yeah. So when you build, it will be saved. So every time you make changes to the model, to this one, EDMX, try to rebuild. Okay. So the thing we said is our controllers, they will remain not up to date, out of date. Okay, outdated. So we need to go delete the controllers and the views. So delete those two folders. The folder first, yeah, delete those two. Yeah, both of them, delete. Okay, and then go to the views. So inside the views, you have one for programs and one for students. Delete the whole folder.
Right.
Yeah. Because those won't be up to updated.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's create the controllers. So do you know why you had Stack Overflow exception? Stack Overflow means like thing that kept running until the memory is full. Because program was referring to program. So program is referring to program, and the next program is referring to program. So they keep referring to them, to each other.
Right.
Did you rebuild? Yeah. So they keep referring to each other until you have Stack Overflow.
Until I have Stack Overflow?
Yeah, because the program is referring to a program.
Okay.
Okay, let's create students controller now. Let's try it out, then you can create the program one.
Okay.
So Sagar, if you have the same issue, you need to check your relations as well.
Make sure.
Yeah, it's working now?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So create one for...
Check this out first.
Yeah, okay. If one is working, then the others are working as well.
Right. Thank you, and sorry, guys.
No, it happens all the time. So guys, sorry, I forgot to mention that. If once you generate the IDMX, make sure to take a look at everything is generated. Once you see something that is not supposed to be here, that means there is a problem in the database. Missing relation, maybe extra relation, missing field, okay? Otherwise, your controllers and views, they won't make sense. You will see strange stuff. Okay, let's go to here and go to students. Okay,
good.
No more
Thank
issues.
You.
Okay, and you will have like the name of the program as well with everything. Okay.
Right. Like this. Okay.
Yeah. So now you can create a controller for programs, controller for courses, and after the break, yeah. Thank you very much, Saria. After the break,
thank you.
We will take a look at the code that was generated for us. Okay. So lots of HTML code was generated for us. You can see it here. Okay, so all of this, for example, this is the details page of a program. Okay, we will take a look at those and we will try to understand what is the code behind the things that we are seeing. Okay, because generating code is not our goal. Understanding the code is what we want to do. Okay, and you will notice also a lot of code that was written inside the controllers themselves. So some of it we will just accept it as is now because it's still early for us. Some of it we will be able to understand what's going on. Okay. So this is after the break. Okay. Now, if you have any issues, please make sure